everyone, welcome back. Today our focus is going to be on balance. So I believe we've done a balance sequence before, but we're going to be looking at some different things this time, and we did do it a while ago. When we look at balance, we're going to separate it into two different categories. So first is like the setup of the asana. So when we're going into the asana, that's super important how we kind of set ourselves up. And then also while we're in the asana, it's important to kind of focus as well. So our setup will be mostly like building up our core strength, having a strong foundation, and also transitioning very smoothly into the pose is very important to have that balance. And then while we're in the pose, we want to focus on continuing to breathe. Sometimes we hold our breath when we're trying to stay still, but we don't want to do that. And then also trying to be aware of everything, staying in the moment, trying not to get shifted by things in your environment and lose your balance. So we're going to be kind of splitting it into two different categories. And so we'll do a couple of balancing poses and we'll work our way up to those poses. Okay. That said, let's go ahead and get started. We're actually going to start we're going to start off doing something a little different tonight. Usually we start off on the floor doing our mindfulness exercise, but we're actually going to stand up, mountain pose. Same idea, we're just not on the floor. We're basically using this time to come into our bodies. So go ahead and stand hip width apart. We're going to be very aware of the way we're standing in mountain pose. Let those shoulders relax, drop down. You can close your eyes if you're comfortable. And now is the time to really hone your attention onto your breath. So as you inhale, really noticing how the breath enters your body. Exhaling, you're going to notice how it exits your body through your mouth. Go ahead and notice the weight of your body and your feet. See if you can shift it to the middle. We don't want to be too much on our toes or too much on our heels. Take one more breath here. And then go ahead and gently open your eyes. And we're just going to inhale and take our arms all the way up. And going to release those shoulders. And right now what I want you to really focus on is this core area. We want to tighten it and really be using it. We're not allowing everything to kind of fall out here. We're engaging the core, and we're going to also engage these arm muscles. We're using our strength. Then go ahead and bring your palms together. We're just going to bring the palms together and we're going to tip over towards the left side. And that's just going to stretch out our entire right side. Palms are pressing against one another. Inhaling, we'll come all the way back up. Exhaling, we're gonna go right into the left side. And so really trying to extend this side as much as possible to create as much space as we can. And then we'll come all the way back to neutral. Let's go ahead and release our hands. We're going to bring our hands onto our hips, and we're just going to do some standing pelvic circles. So our pelvis is here, and we're just going to rotate slowly around, just bringing some movement into our lower body, making circular motions. And while we're doing this, try not to let go of the core that we had tightened earlier. We're still strengthening and bringing energy into that area. All right, and then we'll go the opposite way. Same thing. And then we'll come back to neutral, and we are going to do a standing back bend now. So we're just going to go ahead and bring our hands behind us onto this flat part right above our butt, basically beneath our back and in between our butt. And then we're going to go ahead and take a deep breath in. Exhaling, start to tip back just a little bit. Depending on how far you go is depending on your body. We're just bending backwards. And you're going to look straight up. We're not going to tip our head to try looking at the screen right now. Just looking straight up, not straining our neck. You continue to breathe. I know it's easy to hold your breath here, but we're not. And then inhaling will come up nice and slow to prevent any head rushes. And we will just finish with coming into an interlocked hand position in mountain pose. So I'm just interlocking my fingers like this, and I'm gonna have my palms facing the ceiling and releasing those shoulders down. We're tightening our core, and go ahead and just take this time to notice where the weight of your body is on your feet, like we had done a little bit earlier. So try to find it right in the center of your feet. We're not too much on our heels and not too much on our toes. And we're grounding our feet into the floor to build that strong foundation. And then we'll release. All right. So sooner or later, we're gonna start taking off one leg off the floor, or maybe we're on the ground and we're taking one hand off the floor, things like that. So it's really important to build that strong foundation already, so when we start to remove things, it's gonna be a lot easier. Okay. So we're gonna, before we get into too much of the balancing things, we're going to really build up our core strength and energize our body. So we are gonna do Surya Namaskar. We haven't done that in a while, I believe. So we're gonna go ahead and energize our entire body. I believe a lot of us have done this before a couple of times, so I'm not gonna go too slow, but I'm gonna quickly demonstrate just so we know what we're getting into. We're gonna start in Tadasana. I'll demonstrate and then we'll do it together. And then we'll inhale, take our hands up, and then we're going to come all the way down, forward folding. And then we'll take our hands forward and we're gonna come into plank position. I'm not sagging my hips, or I'm not lifting my hips up too much, just in a plank position. And then we'll come all the way down. Hopefully I don't have anything here, so that we can come up into upward facing dog. And then we will come up into plank, just so we can transition into downward facing dog. And finally, we'll come all the way back up to Uttanasana, once again, forward fold. And then we'll come all the way up into Tadasana once again. Okay, so what's really important, if you have done this before and you don't have to focus on what's coming next, is those transitions. So if you're familiar with Surya Namaskar, I really want you to focus on how you can make those transitions seamless and very flowy, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. We'll start off in Tadasana. Hands are by our side. We've got the weight of our body right in the center of our feet. And then inhaling, let's go ahead and take our hands up into the air. Remember, those arms are nice and energized. Nothing is loose right now. And we're gonna move with our breath. So on your next exhale, go ahead and come all the way down to the floor, folding from your hip crease into Uttanasana, or standing forward fold. And release your neck and your head here. You don't need to hold anything in that area. Make sure you're using all of your body parts and nothing is loose once again. And then next we're going to go ahead and walk our hands out to plank. So moving into plank nice and easily. See if you can really activate your core here. You're going to need it. And try to check your hips to make sure they're not sagging or too lifted. Keep breathing. Alright, and then exhaling, go ahead and come onto the floor, onto your belly, flat on the floor. And then inhaling, we're going to push into the floor with our hands to come into upward facing dog. Opening our chest, our core is still nice and tight here. And then exhaling, we're going to come all the way down just as slow as we came up. And then go ahead and pick yourself up to come into plank once again. And we're going to transition right into downward facing dog. So all you're really doing is adjusting your hips, lifting them up towards the sky. And then we'll walk our hands back to our feet. And we're going to stay down here in forward fold position for just a breath more. And then listen to this carefully. We're going to come up nice and slow so that we're not getting any head rushes. So go ahead and come all the way up. Hands by our head, taking that breath in. exhaling, go ahead and bring your hands to your side. Take just a breath here. And then we'll release. All right. So I'm gonna ask that we do this one more time, but you're gonna do it on your own. And I want you guys to this time imagine that you are a dancer or some sort of a dancer. And so those transitions and going into each pose, we want to stay as in control of our body as possible, but also make it very graceful. So those two key words, graceful and in control, is what we're really going to be focusing on. And so to make it graceful, moving with our breath is very necessary and key. And to stay in control, that means energizing and using all these parts of our body. All that energy really stems from our core. So if you tighten this, all that energy is just going to shoot out to these parts of our bodies. So we're going to do it one more time. You can do it at your own pace. If you don't know the sequence, you can go with me. Otherwise, just using your breath to guide you and to cue you into the poses. And then once you're done, you can go ahead and just wait, and we'll move on together. Okay, so go ahead and start in Tadasana, and then you can move on your own with your breath. Okay, I think we're all done. Good timing. So hopefully you notice some kind of difference in your body. Maybe you're energized, maybe you're hot, something. But we're gonna go ahead and move on now. So let's go ahead and just stretch out our lower bodies a little bit. And this is also our first balancing pose. We're gonna do standing wind release pose. So we've done this on the floor before, but now we're gonna do it standing. So we're gonna start off really by creating that strong base. So go ahead and stand hip width apart. We're gonna plant our feet flat into the floor because that's the only thing that is on the floor. So we want that to be nice and strong. And then we're especially going to put all our focus on the left foot because in the second, our right foot is gonna come off the floor. So go ahead and shift a little bit of your weight onto that left foot. And then we're gonna tighten our core. And then inhaling, we're gonna go ahead and float our right leg off the floor, bringing our knee into our chest. And if you can, go ahead and grab that knee and bring it closer into your chest. So keep pushing that foot into the floor. Try to stare at something in front of you, not stare, sorry, bad choice of words. Gaze at something in front of you. If you're looking at the screen, try not to. It will throw off your balance. You guys look great. And then exhaling, we're gonna place that leg down. And then if you need to, you can shake out that standing leg. We did put all our weight on it. And then we'll go right into our next side. So go ahead and shift the weight to your right foot this time. Tightening that core because all our energy comes from there. And then inhaling, floating the left leg off the ground. And then grabbing it with your hands. Great. One more breath here. And then we'll push that leg down. And then you can shake out that leg if you need to. And then we'll move on. Let's just go ahead and give ourselves a couple of breaths. And then go ahead and just lie yourself all the way back down onto your mat, nice and flat. Into Shavasana we go. So palms can face up as you let your feet flop out to the side. Giving yourself and your body the time to really rejuvenate. Release anything that may be stressing you physically or mentally. Bending a knee at a time. Go ahead and gently shake or nod your head. Go ahead and use the strength of your arms to come all the way up. And then we'll sit in a seated position. We'll bring our hands to our chest, bow our head. Namaste.